What is up, guys? Welcome, Crypto FUD. And let's jump right into this, guys. I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. It's hump day. No diddy to that. Let's get right into it. So, I hope you guys are having a great day. I know a lot of you guys in the Discord were talking about the Fed meeting today, and we're going to get right into that. We're going to talk about why the markets are acting negative right now over what some are calling a really dovish meeting, real bullish meeting that we've had today, right? So we're going to get into that. Let's jump right into the charts real quick. Make sure before we even start off, slap those likes. Let's just get it out of the way. Hit those likes. I know most of you guys already are, but if you're not, make sure you hit that subscribe so you can get those instant alerts whenever we do go live. Jay's in the house. What's going on? Rodney, Gina. Callie said, give me some good news, FUD. I got you, bro. Jay said, more opportunity to pack them bags. Exactly, bro. Exactly. Am I the only one that's like just hoping that we see a big drop? Briefly, right? I just want to see a brief drop, and then we can start just recovering like crazy and running to the moon. Right now, Bitcoin sitting around 64,885. You can see we did break down just a little while ago. We were down to about 64,500. You know, nothing too crazy. Like I told you guys yesterday, I told my members this weekend, I said I still do think that we're going to have some slight pain still in the market. And I'm just going off of not even the Fed meetings, anything like that. I'm just going off of what the markets look like for right now, right? You can see as of the last few days, after we broke above the 70K, we got rejected immediately at that $70,000 mark, right? We come back down. We broke basically below the 66.4, and basically yesterday we were basically just hitting our head on this 66.4, indicating that we were going to probably see a rejection and most likely somewhat of a downward move, and that's what we've seen. So right now we are at a very key spot. That's going to be the 64.9 area, right? 64.9 is going to be a big spot that we've been talking about for a while in regards to holding some support, or if we break below, becoming resistance. So for right now, we did break below, but it was very briefly, and you can see we did jump up right above it, and we are trying to find that support at that 64.9. What's going on, right? What's going on? We're going to jump right into this, so stay tuned. Solana right now is sitting at around 174. You know, coming off of a nice run when Solana was right there at that 194 level. So Solana briefly does look a little bit more bullish. Technically, you can say she is down about 3%. Bitcoin's about down 2%. So as of today, you can see that Solana has a little bit more of a retracement than Bitcoin, but she is also coming off of more of a bigger run than Bitcoin did in the last week. So she is to have a little bit more of a cool off, right? The rest of the market, though, doesn't look terrible. We are basically in the red, but nothing too crazy. And I've been saying this for the last week with Bitcoin kind of having some retracements. Altcoins have been really, honestly, in my opinion, holding pretty strong. They really have. You know, right now, Bitcoin down, 2%. You would expect most of the markets down like 10%. And everything's down like maybe 2 or 3%. Nothing too crazy. Some projects are actually up today. Like ICP is technically up 4%. What the hell is going on with here? We're living in some crazy times right now, guys. We are living in some crazy times. I'm going to tell you that right now. Looking at the crypto bubbles for today, obviously to be expected, majority of it is in the red. We do have some green, some hopium out there. Notcoin is up. Beam's up 5%. Mog is up 4%. ICP 3%. We just talked about that. Arweave, Lido, Maker, Caspa's up again, having a solid week. Ton's up 1%. So, like I said, nothing too crazy as far as seeing the alts being decimated or anything like that. Alts, in my opinion, have been holding pretty well. They really have. They've been holding pretty well. We'll have to see how this plays out. If Bitcoin can hold this pivotal spot at that 64.9, or if we're going to see more pain. So let's just jump right into it, guys, because I just want to address the elephant in the room. Obviously, the Fed meeting today. Let's get into it. What my take was. Read some articles on what people are talking about. So Fed, let's see here. So the Fed holds policy steady, expresses more caution than expected on September's rate cut. So a lot of people, you watch this, the meeting, we all watch the same thing, but we can take it in different ways, right? You can take it as he was being pretty dovish compared to the last few meetings, and I agree with that. But you can also say that there was some things that were said or that weren't said that really is him kind of still sitting on that fence where he's not giving us that confidence that they're going to be reducing rates, right? He did hint towards, if this was to happen or that was to happen, then we are confident in reducing rates here soon, indicating possibly the next meeting, September, but still was kind of backtracking and still saying that they still need to get more data. And his exact words before we even read into this were that they still want to see the next CPI report. And also, remember, this week, Friday, we have the job reports coming out. We have the job reports coming out, unemployment. It's going to be a big deal, actually. I do think it's going to be a big deal because these are like the last couple reports that they're going to be having out before they're really going to make a decision on the September move, right? So jobs, they unfortunately want to see the job unemployment go up, right? They still want to see it go up a little bit more. CPI report that's going to be coming out in I think about 3 to 4 weeks. They want to see it still coming down, right? At least meeting forecasts, hopefully doing what it's done in the last previous CPI reports where it's come down maybe a point or two. So with that being said, we still have uncertainty, right? And what do I always tell you guys? Uncertainty is the killer in the market, right? When you have uncertainty, you can have the most bullish news out there, and Bitcoin is now the world's currency and this and that. But if you have some kind of other uncertainty in the market, well, but there might be a nuclear war. I'm just throwing out something that's like equivalent. There might be a nuclear war between two high powers, and the United States is involved. It's uncertain, right? So the market is going to react negatively, right? So I use those analogies because we've had a lot of good things going for Bitcoin, but we still have these things that are looming that are just causing uncertainty. And there's nothing more powerful than when people or investors are uncertain on what the future is going to bring on certain topics, on certain things. And that's what will usually cause people to sell off and sit on the sidelines. And that's what I think we've been seeing. So going back to this article, the Feds held policy steady as expected, but the policy statements was more hawkish than most anticipated. At this post-meeting, At this post-meeting press conference, Chairman Jerome Powell indicated the central bank was moving closer to the point where it might cut rates. You see how they use those words? They purposely, trust me, they go over this crap before they come out for a week on, about what words to use and what words not to use, because he can use other words that are a little bit more like insinuating that we're going to be reducing rates, and it could cause the markets to rally. I told you, this guy's he's basically working a real thin line where he doesn't want to crash the market, and he also doesn't want to cause a market freaking euphoria where, everything's going crazy and people are making massive amount of money, because then that could basically derail the CPI reports, derail inflation, cause inflation to actually come up. Believe it or not, a lot of people are in investments nowadays, right? 2024, a lot of people are in crypto, a lot of people are in stock market, a lot of people are in housing, stuff like that. And when they hear that, reducing rates, people are going to go out and start buying stuff. People are going to start making more money buying stuff and causing the demand to go up. That's why they have to be very cautious on the words that they're using. So as expected, the U.S. Federal Reserve left its benchmark Fed funds rate range unchanged at 5.25 and 5.5%. Maybe somewhat surprising though, the Fed gave little indication that the September rate is guaranteed. Inflation has eased over the past year, but remains somewhat elevated, said the central bank in its policy statement. The economic outlook is uncertain, and the FOMC is attentive to the risk to both sides of its dual mandate. In the minutes following the more hawkish than expected statement, bond yields and the dollar rose a bit. Let's check out what the dollar actually is doing today. So the dollar, if it did rise, it didn't stay up for too long because it's still sitting around where it started off this morning. So, and that just right there shows you we're in some crazy times right now where the market is completely just like, imagine you ever played that game where you spin somebody around like 12 times and then they try to go pin something on the donkey. We're the person that's getting, the investors are the one that's getting spun around, and you pinning that donkey is when they're going to reduce rates, like you're just so discombobulated. You're like, what in the hell is going on right now, right? You're just so confused for the most part, right? I still do believe that they're going to be reducing rates in September, and we're going to go over the charts and all that good stuff. So they said that the dollar rose a bit, but both remained lower for the day. Yep, and that's what we just saw. The price of Bitcoin edged lower to 66,500, but remained modestly higher over the past 24 hours. U.S. stocks remained sharply higher for the season. The Nasdaq's up 2.4%, and the S&P's 500 is up about 1.5%. Dealing with the galloping inflation at the time, the Fed's historic run of tighter policies began in early 2022, taking the Fed funds rate from 0% to 5.25% to 5.5% in the space of less than 18 months. The rate has remained at that level for more than a year, as central bank has been cautious to ease while inflation stubbornly remains well above 2% target. It's at what, 3.4? Come on, we've gone down all the way from like 9% to 3.4%. Prior to today's meeting, the market had fully anticipated at least a quarter basis points in the rate cuts by mid-September meeting, according to the CME Fed Watch. Looking out further, markets had priced in a nearly 60% chance of a 75% basis point in rate cuts by the Fed's final meeting in 2024. So they're saying that the market has pretty much priced in that even if it's going to be in increments of 0.25%, that they're saying that the market has pretty much priced in a 75%, a 0.75, almost a whole percent deduction in interest rates. I don't see that happening for this year of 2024. I think the absolute most that they're going to do is a 0.5%, and that's going to be 0.25% September and December is what I've been saying for the longest, and I'm still holding to it. Now, this next CPI report, the unemployment that's coming out Friday that we are going to be streaming in the morning, those are going to be key things to watch in it with indication if we're going to see some kind of a reduction in interest rates coming up in September. It is what it is, right? Speaking at his post-meeting conference, Jerome Powell said recent readings have given more confidence and inflation is moving back to its 2% target. That's bullish. While no decision has been made about September, he said, the broad sense is that we're moving closer to reducing rates. That right there, very bullish, right? That is very bullish, so you can't even take that away. That's very bullish on what he's saying, but he's still leaving it to where there's a lot of uncertainty out there, right? He's saying, inflation has been coming down. It makes us, maybe move closer towards reducing interest rates. The wordage, right? I said we had to focus on the wordage. They came out very smart on their words today, making sure that they weren't going to cause any kind of frenzy in the market for today. And if we pull up the meetings, or this is going to be our next, this is the next FOMC meeting. That's in technically 48 and some change days from now. This is going to be what September. And as of now, let me see if I can reload this page and if anything's changed. All right, look at that. Wow. All right. So September, this is what we're in right now, right? Yep. So things have changed since this. I loaded this page up literally an hour ago getting ready for the stream. And look at this. We've seen to where earlier, I wish I would have kept the screen up. There was like 15% calling for a 0.5% to a 0.75% of a move. Now it's trickled down to 9.5. There was like 2 or 3% calling for even more of a move towards reduction in interest rates. That has completely been gone, right? Now you have 90% that are saying, okay, yeah, September most likely is going to be a reduction in interest rates, but it's only going to be about 0.25%, maybe 0.5%, right? And I've been telling you guys this even up until yesterday, that it's going to be 0.25%. I don't understand where these people are getting their data or why they're thinking that the Feds that are so reluctant on reducing interest rates for the last 12 months, we've been sitting so high at with our interest rates. They think that they're going to just start dropping it down like massive amounts. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. They're going to start off very slow because we are still in that real tight range where they could start reducing rates, and inflation CPI report could come out next time or 2 times down the road, and it starts moving back up, right? It's happened in history before. It has happened in history before where the Feds have done this and they went balls to the wall, started reducing rates, and then boom, inflation came back even worse, right? You ever heard of the Volcker years? Look it up. Early 80s, late 70s. The guy had to increase rates by like 20%, something insane, because he got straight up bamboozled, right? They thought they tackled inflation. They reduced rates too fast, and then bam, inflation came back ×2. So that's why they have that looming over us or looming over them. Jerome Powell doesn't want to be, in history, it's called being a Volcker, right? Where you got bamboozled and then you just go fucking crazy. Excuse my language, but dude just went, he's like, all right, inflation, you want to play? 20%. Boom. And inflation eventually got tackled down. It took a while, but imagine that, so right now the market, like I said, pricing in that 0.25% to 0.5%, that's with us getting good reports coming back from the CPI report. That's going to be out in about 3 to 4 weeks. And then on top of that, the unemployment rate that's going to be coming out, the unemployment numbers for this Friday coming up. So we have some big things going on, guys. So I'm glad I wanted to get this all out of the way so we can just jump into charts, right? So we got it all out of the way, guys. Someone asked me something real quick. Hold on here. So you guys are talking about his dog. You guys are laughing. Punk said, "How is Call doing?" Thank you for reminding me, bro. Let's pull up Call real quick. And let's see what's going on. We're not doing too bad. NFK's up about 2.5%. Nothing too crazy. Actually, not doing too bad given that Solana has dropped down. I'm not gonna say crazy, but Solana's dropped down, right? You guys can see Solana technically is down about 3, almost 4% for the day, right? So we're holding pretty strong with that. Someone asked about Call. Let's pull up Call because Call is getting its ass handed to today. Down 15% today. And she honestly is looking kind of juicy. Let me go back to my other chart here. My other chart. There we go. Looks like I have some better lines over here. The other charts, this is MMF. The other chart's VVS. Those are the difference between charts. If you're ever wondering, so Call dropped on MMF first, right? So Call was on MMF first. So you can see this chart will actually go back. VVS only starts from like right here. It does not have any of this stuff back here because VVS started tracking. It went on VVS's swap like a few weeks after it already was launched on MMF. So if you guys are ever wondering, but you guys can see I've been kind of calling this for a while. If you guys remember, I've been calling for some kind of a dramatic move to this 39, or I was saying if it really wants to get spicy, dropping down to some of these levels. Now I do think some of these levels down here are dramatic, right? I do think that's dramatic. Where you're at right now, is this a good time to buy in for Call? I'm looking at it right now. It doesn't look terrible, honestly. I feel like if the markets can pick up, this might be an epic bounce right here for Call. Now I don't know what's going on because if you can see, that's a big ass candle, right? I'm not going to scroll through the transactions, but this is a big ass candle. A whale sold off here. And it is what it is, right? I'm sure people are getting restless with Call because this thing has been just steadily moving down. We had one little blimp towards the upside in the last like month or two, and that was only because they got on to whatever exchange it was. I don't even remember because it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't really matter, honestly. So they had one little blimp of them moving up on one of those, smaller exchanges. Yes, it's good for the project, but really doesn't matter, right? Because you can see how it reacted. So it was a buy the news, sell the or buy the rumor, sell the news event, and that's exactly what happened for Call. So, for me personally, like I said, if you're invested in Call, it's getting rough, right? It's getting rough, but I've told you guys, if you're in call and you've been holding for this long, if you're in a loss right now, why are you going to sell for a loss? In my opinion, not financial advice. Why are you going to sell for a loss? Maybe you should hold out and see if maybe we can get into some, some kind of a dramatic move where this thing can easily bounce. That's what I think would be a solid thing. Now, if we do drop below this support level that we've had mapped, you guys can see that it literally came down to this 39, and it looks like it's bounced so far, right? Not really confident on that bounce yet, but you can see that it has bounced off that 39. If it does break that 39, I do think that the next level for some support on call could be all the way down to this 23 level down here, right? That's a dramatic move. That is a dramatic move. You're talking about probably a 40% move from there. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. Probably not. And look, I called that exactly where it is. 40% move for that. So I'm not anticipating that's 100% that, it's going to do that. If it breaks below this line, it's for sure going down there. It could break below this support level and maybe come about halfway down before, the buyers take in. But there's going to be a point in time, mark my words, there's going to be a point in time where call is going to, if it's right here where we're at right now, or if it comes down, it needs to break down a little bit more, it's going to get to an attractive spot where even myself are like, you know what? Call's market cap's at $20 million. Fuck yeah. I'm buying in. Here's $1,000. Boom. Throw it in on call. Right? Maybe not $1,000. I don't know. We'll see what's up. But something like that. I do have some crow just sitting here waiting. Right? So we'll see how it goes. Right now, not even a terrible time to buy in. But don't buy in. Let's let it drop a little bit more. All right? And then we can all eat. But what I'm saying is it's going to get to a level where the sellers are going to be exhausted, and you're going to see people like myself that have been watching call, or even that are still in call, but might see that you're like, holy crap, this is actually, calls drop down. This is a good level for me to dollar cost average in, or for me to add to my bags, right? So it's going to get to that level. Has it got there yet? We'll see. We'll see how it bounces. Now, another thing too is if this market continues to move down, and I mean Bitcoin, the traditional market, you're going to see more pain in DeFi. That's why I tip my hat to everybody that for NFK for right now. Even though our volume has been down, which a lot of OG projects, I have to consider our project an OG. It's going on 5 months now. In DeFi world, that's an OG project. Our volume's down. A lot of projects' volumes are down right now because DeFi is starting to clinch its butt crack. In a way, I don't mean to be like that, but it's kind of like looking like the traditional market, and they're like, oh, right, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? We're getting some of these levels where we're like, shit, are we moving down? If Bitcoin crashes, I'm not saying it is, but if Bitcoin crashes, DeFi might not crash immediately, but eventually it will trickle over to DeFi, So that's why I was saying I tip my hat to NFK, because even though our volume's been kind of stagnant, we've been stagnant as far as price, where you're not seeing any movement. People aren't getting scared. We're kind of holding off, waiting to see what Solana is going to do, right? Solana starts mooning, we're off to the races, right? Solana comes down. I'm not saying that we're going to crash particularly, but DeFi as a whole, so this traditional market goes down, it's going to obviously weigh in on the DeFi market. And this is for all projects abroad, across the whole space. So, and that's what we're seeing with a project like Call, because Call is on some major exchanges. So a lot of people, when they're selling off right now and they're terrified, they're selling off on central exchanges. They're not really doing it per se on DeFi yet. They're doing it on central exchanges. Call is going to be hit with all that, because when you're on crypto.com and you're like, shit, the market's dropping, a lot of people hold their call on crypto.com now, right? So they're scared selling pretty much. So call is going to be affected. That's the pros and cons of having a project that's on a big central exchange. So short term, still saying I'm bearish on call, but long term, definitely bullish. And that's why I'm telling you guys, when we get to a certain level, I'm hopping in for sure. And I'm going to get a solid bag again of some call. But look at Cronos right now, guys. Look at the freaking market. I keep wanting to curse. I've been drinking a couple IPAs and they're like 8%. Got me talking like a damn sailor right now. Like I've been out on the ocean all day with some pirates. Forgive me, guys. I know we have children that watch this channel. I am so sorry, guys. Looking at the Cronos market right now. Holy crapazoid. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, Mary's down 17% right now. Mary's another one that I've been kind of keeping my eye on. You know, keeping my eye on, wanting to see what's going on here. If she gets down to a certain level, I'm going to pounce on it, because I do believe long term, guys, there's a couple projects that are going to survive. Call, I think Mary, you know, you might throw in a few other Corgi AI, right? And maybe a couple other, and I'm talking about if shit gets real, like, you know, if it starts to get bad out there, these projects are going to still survive. They're going to be around. They might drop down to some levels that we haven't seen, but when the smoke clears and we start running back up again, these are going to be the projects that are going to freaking 200, 300, you know, plus X on a lot of these projects, especially we're talking Cronos right now, right? Because there really isn't a lot of competition on Cronos. It looked like there was. You go back 4 months ago, 3 months ago, every freaking day we had a new project that was coming out that was like taking over the airwaves on Cronos. Now it's just died out like crazy. So I do think that some of these key projects, like I said, Crow, Mary, Corgi AI, I'm trying to think of some other ones. I'm a little hesitant to say any other ones like Ryoshi. Ryoshi's been getting decimated, right? And its market cap's only at $600,000. This project could easily fade away, right? I'm not saying it's going to, but it won't. You know, if shit gets rough out there, this project could easily fade away. I've seen it back in 2021, projects that were at like $1 million market cap, and you're like, they should be all right, you know, and then you come back a year later and they're gone. They're absolutely gone. There's no liquidity. Everybody's sold off on these projects. So, you know, not trying to sound like the bearer of bad news, guys. I'm just pointing out what the markets have been saying. And if you guys have been following me, I've been saying this for the last month now, that I still do think there's going to be a little bit more pain in the market before we get to the sunshine and the you know, and the birds chirping and stuff like that, because it's going to come. It's going to come, and I mean the good times. We just have to go through this. This always happens in bull markets. Always. I'm telling you, every freaking bull market, we always have big retracements. And I technically feel like we haven't seen the big one yet, right? We haven't seen the big one yet. So we'll see how it plays out. Let's see here. Flip said 8%. Laughing face. What the hell are you laughing about, buddy? Old said, Crip's a smart guy. That's why I started paying attention to this channel. He keeps us up to date. I try to, bro, and I appreciate the kind words. He did say a quarter. Let's see here, 0.25% if we do lower interest rates in September. It's that what you were asking for Crip on call? What? I'm a little confused on that one. And then Owen said, "Oh, 8%. What are you laughing at, bro? 8%'s a strong ass beer, bro. Your Bud Lights that you're drinking, Flip, are only 3.5%, buddy. That's like 2.5 beers I'm drinking for every one of your Miller Lights. All right." Let's see here. Can you check Myro? Let's pull Myro up. Take that, Flip. I know I'm messing with you. I was trying to think of like the weakest beer to compare it to. I know there's probably some more that are a little bit weaker. Michelob Ultra, right? Back in my freaking like college days and stuff, bro, we'd get Michelob Ultra because it like just came out, and you'd slam like each person would slam like 20 of them because it's like drinking water with a hit of beer, you know. Oh, Gina's saying, is that what you were asking for, Crip, on call? Oh, I see what you're saying. So I was asking for that dip and call, but I'm still not satisfied. I still want to see a little bit more of a dip for call. Still want to see a little bit more. I feel like, and the reason is because I just feel like, you know, with the traditional market right now, we could be seeing a little bit more pain in the market, right? So I'm thinking that call could still move down a little bit more. I do think that. So for Myro, someone was asking, I think Owen was asking about Myro. So Myro right now, what is Myro sitting at? About 12 cents. Myro honestly has been holding, I'm not going to say holding super strong, but it's been holding, right? Definitely holding above that 10-cent mark. That's another project that I'm looking at. Small market cap, has a big community. It's on a lot of major exchanges. And a Solana-based project. If this gets down to some certain levels, like 8 cents or below. I know I used to call 10 cents, but now after seeing that 8-cent opportunity, 8.5 cents, I want it, right? So anything below this 8.5 cents, I'm looking to maybe jump in on Miro. But you notice how I pointed out a few projects, and I'm like, I want to jump in on this, jump on that. I hate spreading my money like real thin across, right? So what I'll do is I will consolidate and try to figure out what projects I'm mostly bullish on, and it'll probably be a selective of like 2 or 3 that I jump in on. And I'm talking about like jumping obviously bigger increments instead of picking 5 or 6 and splitting it all up across the board. I just don't like doing that. I don't like doing that, having to monitor 7 projects at once, you know? So with that being said, Miro doesn't look terrible. Let's pull up the market cap and see what it's at nowadays with it being at 12 cents. Right now, about $100 million, so not looking bad. Getting there. Miro, like when I first bought in on Miro, it was at $50 million, right? And it jumped up to like $300 million. I ended up selling as far as market cap. So now that it's getting towards that $100 million, if it can break below that $100 million, I'm going to start really keeping an eye on it as far as wanting to jump in on Miro. So let's see what Milady is doing today. She's at what? Still about 83 million. She's kind of sitting around where she was yesterday. She's only down about 1%, which that's what I'm saying, guys. It's like it's very odd, right? Bitcoin right now is down 2%, and ladies is only down 1.8%. What the hell? Isn't that odd? In a normal day, if Bitcoin's down 2%, Milady's is down 10%. Just, I don't know. It's just so odd right now with the altcoins. They're holding strong. They really are. They're holding relatively strong than you would think compared to a lot of this movement that we've seen and this weakness that we've seen recently with Bitcoin. So, not a good thing if you're trying to jump in on some good prices for these altcoins. So, we'll see how this plays out. I did want to jump back over here and bring this up. So right now, fear and greed index, we are finally getting into that neutral. You notice how now it's saying neutral. We were in greed yesterday at 60, but now we're in that lower 60, pretty much 59. We're getting back into that neutral. What does neutral mean? It means majority of the market is like neutral, where they're not bullish, they're not necessarily bearish, they're right there in the middle, kind of just uncertain, right? Uncertainty. What do I tell you guys? Uncertainty is the biggest killer in any kind of investment, especially stock markets or crypto. So that's where we're sitting right now. There's no other way to put it out. You know, that's the only way that we're sitting right now as far as with the market, and we're gonna have to see how it plays out. You know, like I said, big things that we're waiting on is going to be this the job rates coming out on Friday. We still have the article that we talked about yesterday about the U.S. government moving $2 billion into wallets, right? One of them linked to an exchange. They didn't name what exchange, but that's another thing that I think is going to creep up on us in the next few days, you know, with a little bit more information. And that's another thing to throw on with the Fed meetings and all this stuff. That's still causing uncertainty out there as far as possible, you know, a big sell-off, you know, by the billions from the U.S. government. So Gina said, please check cock in you. There's nothing in me, girl. What are you talking about right now? Gina, that's sick. That is sick. She said to check. Gina, this is a kid show. Literally, 50% of my audience is kids. That's sick. Oh, did you see that? I can't believe what she just asked, guys. That is just outrageous. Let's pull that up. I didn't even realize I'm like halfway out of the... Let me move my camera over a little bit. Hold on, guys. There we go. It's kind of out of the frame there. Bro, I haven't looked up that project in so long. Is this still a thing? It's still a thing. So, I mean, looking at the fib retracement, you can see it did break below the 786. historically speaking, right, for this project, anything below the 786, if you're able to accumulate, has played out pretty well. You know, like I would say for most projects, and especially this project right now, I would most likely, if you haven't already, just have patience. Have patience, Gina, because you might end up getting a good price if this is a price that you're looking for. $125 million market cap, that's crazy. It's technically bigger than Milady by a lot, right? It's actually insane that it's still holding up this well. I don't really hear about people talking about this much. So I told you guys, as long as I haven't been watching George's shows, I keep missing it. But as long as I Am George is supporting this project and talking about it, it'll stay relevant because, I mean, he's got 50 to 100,000 people that are watching his programs every day, right? So if he just brings it up, that's 50 to 100,000 people that are watching it. A couple thousand of those people are going to act on that and most likely buy in on the project or at least keep their eyes on it. So I think with that being said, you know, the project's going to stay relevant for now. So I would keep an eye on it. You know, where you're at right now, not a terrible time to be dollar cost averaging in, you know, if you can't have patience, right? But I would think that most likely I'm going to mark a spot that would be a big spot for some resistance, is right there at around that 13 mark. You can see it's bounced multiple times at this spot right here. This 1370 would be a good time, in my opinion, to accumulate this project. So oh, Gina, so you bought into it a while back. I can't believe. So, did you guys see the ICP earlier today? You know, I keep an eye on this because I'm like waiting. And this thing out of nowhere, the market wasn't even rallying, and this thing went from 870 up to $9.54. Let's see what kind of move. That's like a 10% move. Yeah, about 9.5% move right there. Out of nowhere, everything was like dropping out. I'm like, what the freaking hell is going on with ICP? But if you can see, look at that. It was just a fake out, right? It's just a fake out because you can see this white line is the trend that we've had, right? And look exactly what this project has done. It you know, ran up, candlestick ran up to $9.54, right? But it was very short-lived, and look what it's respecting. The trend line. Isn't that crazy? We draw these trend lines, and for right now, until it officially breaks above and finds that support, it's going to respect these trend lines, right? If you do them properly, it's going to respect these trend lines, and that's exactly what ICP's been doing. So this is another project that I'm keeping my eyes on that I definitely want to get back in, but I want to get in at a good time, right? Another project that I've been watching, you guys already know, and we're going to keep pulling it up, is Ordinals. Ordinals is another project that I'm keeping my eye on, right? Because I believe that Bitcoin's going to do really well in the near future, you know, so I do think that a project like Ordinals that has such a small supply, very small market cap, that's is a BRC20 token on the Bitcoin network. It's going to run with Bitcoin, right? And this thing has actually been holding steadily strong today. I was expecting, you know, with us seeing Bitcoin dipping, that we're going to get down to the lower 30s, and this thing really has been holding, but still respecting this channel and this trend line of a downward move. So same thing, just keep my eyes out. It's been very hard to have patience. It really has. It's been very hard to have patience, and that's what it is. If everybody had patience, you know, then everybody would, you know, be having massive amount of money in crypto. That's why I preach to you guys, just have patience, right? Don't fall into these fake outs and stuff like that. Wait for the perfect timing. Try to get that best position in so you can reap and maximize your profits when we are back up. That's what the goal is, guys. Gina said, I wish Ordinals will drop. Hell yeah. Same here, girl. Same here. Flip, I'm just seeing what you said. He said, I drink zombie dust. What the hell is that, bro? The hell are you talking about? Zombie dust. So remember we talked about this senator yesterday. She was indicating that she wants to do a $1 million purchase in 2025 if she's able to start a Bitcoin reserve, right? So she pretty much laid out, this is the drafted bill that she's trying to get out. So this is something big. Even if it doesn't go through, this still paves the foundation of what possible other senators could do in the near future if this doesn't go out, right? Sometimes when these bills come out, they get, they're dead on arrival, but it starts putting stuff in people's ears, right? So United States Senator Cynthia Lummis, she is a Republican, revealed not that matters, right? Revealed a draft bill to CoinDesk on July 31st, outlining a plan to establish federal stockpile of 1 million Bitcoin. A plan, let's see here. A plan different from what our initial comments suggested. Oh, okay. The proposed legislation, dubbed the Bitcoin Act of 2024, would establish a Bitcoin's purchase program for the U.S. Treasury. The Bitcoin Act of 2024 proposes establishing a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve that would be financed in part by a revolution of the Fed's gold. Oh. The Bitcoin purchase program aims to deliver up to 200,000 Bitcoin a year over 5 years, reaching 1 million Bitcoin in total. The Bitcoin would be, oh man, I'll click into it. To be careful clicking into these links. Let's hear. The Bitcoin would be held at least 20 years. This is long-term locking of Bitcoin builds to robust foundation for the Bitcoin anticipation. Let's go back over here. So the program would authorize the acquisition of up to 200,000 Bitcoin annually for 5 years, ultimately capping the federal Bitcoin reserve at 1 million Bitcoin. The Lummis Bitcoin Act. Key details of the proposed legislation. The path of funding these substantial purchases hinges on a bold proposition: reevaluating the U.S. government's gold reserves held at Fort Knox. This revolution seeks to capitalize on gold's notable price anticipation over the past several years. So if you guys understand what this means, is supposedly we have a Fort Knox where it holds big chunks of gold, right? No one has ever seen it, obviously for security purposes, but what she's saying is let's take a little bit of that gold and let's purchase over 5 years starting in 2025 200,000 Bitcoin, totaling a million Bitcoin in the next 5 years, using some of the gold that supposedly the US holds. I do believe that they do have a stockpile of gold. I really do. And using some of that and converting it over to Bitcoin would be nothing but a freaking plus, right? Literally converting a million Bitcoin, which I don't even know what the price is of that. It would be in the freaking billions, right? Converting that gold into Bitcoin, that would be awesome. I wonder, would they have, let's say they lock up, so they get the Bitcoin, right? After 5 years, they have a million Bitcoin. Are they going to have it in like cold wallets that are just sitting in the in the freaking safe? Oh, and sitting there with piles of gold everywhere. It'd be so funny. They're going to be looking at it like, bro, we have all this freaking gold and it equals the same amount as what's on these freaking on these damn cold wallets. So that's a big thing right there. That's a big thing here. So let's see here. As of July 25th, the Federal Reserve balance sheet valued its gold stock at a mere $11 billion, seamlessly based on the Federal Reserve's Bank of New York's outdated valuation of 42.22 per troy ounce. However, with gold's actual market price currently exceeding $2,400 per ounce, over 50 times the Fed's valuation, the 8,134 tons of gold reportedly owned by the Treasury could be worth an outstanding $630 billion. Let's see here. George, the director of Emergis at the Center of Monetary and Financial Alternatives at the Cato Institute, considers the government's current book value for its gold at accounting fraction. He believes that Senator Lummis' plan to bolster the Lummis Bitcoin initiative could, or initiative through gold is certainly feasible. I mean, obviously, I wonder what is a million Bitcoin? I wonder. I don't want to pull out my handy dandy calculator, but I wonder what that would be. Coinbase will hold it for the government. That'd be a little nerve wracking to have the government's freaking Bitcoin on Coinbase. I don't know. That'd be a little nerve wracking. But we'll see how this plays out, man. We'll see how this plays out. But definitely, like I said, even if it doesn't happen this time around, it's definitely very bullish to say. Article I was just looking at that I want to bring up. This kind of is a follow-up from yesterday. Bitcoin's price prediction, $2 billion transfer by the U.S. government causes a 3.5% drop to 65.4. So this is what I'm telling you guys. Everybody's focused on the FOMC meeting right now, this and that, blah blah blah. And I think they're kind of putting this on the back burner. This is a big thing right here. So the U.S. government's $2 billion Bitcoin transfer causes 3.8 price drop. So the U.S. government recently transferred 29,800 Bitcoin valued at approximately $2 billion, has shaken the cryptocurrency market. The Bitcoin initially seized from the Silk Road dark web marketplace was moved to an unknown wallet, leading to a 3.5% drop in Bitcoin's price. So I'm looking to see. Thank you so much, Flip, for the $20 super chat, brother. What's he saying? Please check VeChain and TRB. I got you right now, brother. Got you right now. Let me just finish this article and then we'll go straight to the charts. So let's see here. So M2 Crypto Exchange has launched a service enabling the UAE residents to trade Bitcoin and Ether directly from their bank accounts. So they're moving to something else. And then price prediction, real quick, we'll just go into here. So Bitcoin is currently trading at 66,400. Oof, it's dropped a lot from there. This article came out 6 hours ago too. On the 4-hour chart time frame, key price levels monitor include a pivot point to 65.6, which is crucial for determining the next price movement. Immediate resistance is identified at 66,800, followed by a subsequent I'm like, subsequent is not a word. Subsequent resistance level at 67,500 and 68,800. On the support side, immediate support is at 65.5 with further support levels at 64.8 and 63.6. So what's crazy is we're now at these levels, right? We're basically right now, Bitcoin's at 64,800 and we are finding support. I believe we're finding support as of now at around 64.5. That's been where the drop has been. So let's see here. So with that being said, they're saying the next drop, if we do drop down from where we're at right now, technically could be somewhere in the mid 63,000. So we'll see how it goes, guys. Like I said, right now, the way the markets are looking, it's indicating a little bit more pain is in store for us, guys. I keep telling you guys that. Take it with a grain of salt, right? You want to be kind of playing for both scenarios. If the market starts pumping again, you obviously want to have your foot into the market, but you also want to have some dry powder as well, not financial advice, ready to pounce on opportunity if it arises, right? Now, my boy Flip came in and asked if we can check out a couple things. So he's saying, can we check out VeChain? Let's pull up VeChain. I feel like I have not freaking looked at VeChain in a while. I think I had, this was like, I didn't have a freaking VeChain chart up. Alrighty. Ricky's in the house. What's going on? What is going on, Ricky? Bullish in the house. What's going on, brother? What is going on? I'm trying to zoom out a little bit here just to see something. All right. So I don't like that fib that we have right here, so I'm going to do a mini fib inside our actual fib. This looks a little bit better. So VeChain right now, VeChain, honestly, I think VeChain is almost like a Jasmy, right? I mean, I don't want to offend anybody when they're like, oh, hell no, but it really is, right? It's very big in the Asian community, on the Asian side of the globe, and I think it has a lot of support, still sitting at around a little over $2 billion market cap, so I'd put it in the little bit of the lower end of the larger market caps, so you'll get some good stability. A couple of things that I will point out for this is that you can see, obviously, there has been a downward trend that's basically been here since about February of this year, right? So we are zoomed out like crazy, but you can see that this thing has been making lower highs as it continues. And a lot of projects honestly look like this, right? So what I would say about this is if I was looking to, and I didn't buy in yet, and I was looking to get in, I would, like I said, have patience, guys. Have patience, because this could be a project where you can get some good opportunity buying in at the lower 2 cent mark, somewhere around the 786, right here at around 2.2 cents, right? Bottom of the fib is going to be around 1.3 cents. Do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. This technically, when we hit these levels, we were in the middle of a bear market, right? I don't think that we're going to necessarily drop down to some of these lower levels right here, but you could briefly dip down to maybe break below, right below that 2 cent mark, right? Like 1.9. You kind of already, if you see, when we did have a big dip right here, which was recently for VeChain, it dropped down to about 2 cents even. So that looks like that's going to be a big spot for some support at that 2 cent level. So I would say if I was looking and I had patience for this project flip, I'd be looking at this 2 cent mark right here. You can see even when we were coming down in the bear market, it bounced multiple times, actually hit its head there, and look, recently hit its head right at the 2 cent mark. So anything at that low 2 cent mark is what I would be looking for to accumulate or start adding to my bag, bro. But right now, still in a downward trend as we speak, and the most of the market's looking like this, right? If not all of the market. So, but VeChain, I think VeChain, like I said, I put it right there. Maybe not as bullish on VeChain as I am for Jasmy, but I do think it's a solid project, and now I understand, because you're real big. Flip likes to invest, and he likes to invest in a lot of the Asian stuff. So Jasmy, VeChain, I'm sure there's a couple other projects that I can't think of that are predominantly in the Asian market over there. And he said that he's been in since 2021. The question is when in 2021? Because 2021 we made all-time highs, right? We made all-time highs. So you most likely, I would imagine that you're probably down on your VeChain right now, right, bro? With that being said, if you are down on your VeChain, right now wouldn't be bad times to just slowly accumulate more and bring your average down, right? Depending on where you're at right now with your average. But let's say you're in a 4 or 5 cent VeChain right now. Buying in at 2.5 cents right now is half your price, so it's going to bring your average down. And as you continue to see VeChain, if it does continue to move down towards these support levels, you can take advantage of that and keep accumulating and keep bringing your average down. If this is long term for you, sounds like it is, right? I don't think you would be in it from 2021, so you're not down much. All right, so you have the pleasures to kind of keep an eye on it, but anything that's below where your average is right now is a plus, in my opinion, right? But if you have some solid patience, you might be able to make that power move and get a big bag at around the lower 2 cents mark, because that's where I think if we do see a correction in the market and we do dip down, it's probably going to be somewhere around this 2 cent, maybe briefly breaking down a little bit below that 2 cent, but staying somewhere around those higher 1.8, 1.9 cents, somewhere around there is what I think. So good luck with that, brother. And TRB, what the hell is TRB? TRB, what is this? Let me pull this up real quick. Sometimes from the acronyms, I'm like, what is that? Oh, Taylor, you've asked us about this project before. $200 million market cap, not too bad. Price at 79. Look at this crazy freaking scam wick right here to $630. What the hell is that about? That's crazy. It's probably not correct. Sometimes you'll see these crazy pumps and it's like it actually never really happened. Bro, were you guys alive Were you guys alive in crypto back in 2021? There was a glitch in coin market cap, I think it was, where something happened and like Bitcoin went to like $1 million or something. Something crazy happened and everybody was like a trillionaire for like 4 hours if you were in the crypto market in 2021. Anybody remember that? That shit was crazy. I remember looking at my portfolio and I was up like, I had like $500 million, legit $500 million in my freaking my DeFi wallet. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, all right, I'm trying to transfer it. I'm like trying to transfer it over to USDC and it would not go through. I'm like, bro. And then I get on like the computer and everybody's spazzing out, like showing their portfolios. Like apparently I'm the richest person in the world. Like some people had like $107 trillion and shit. Like Ricky said he tried to sell that. So bro, I think everybody did, bro. I was like, I'm like, fucking go through. I was like, just $1 million, please. Like, go through. And it would not go through. And then 4 hours later, it corrected itself after the world stopped for like a couple hours. Crazy times. So for this project, brother, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't know anything about this project, bro. I've seen it around, right? Definitely trading on big exchanges, Binance, Coinbase, Gate.io, KuCoin, all the major exchanges, right? So definitely big potential there. But I don't know anything about this project. He says it's something similar to like a GameStop type of project, right? So, I mean, that's dope. That's dope. But like as far as like, the fundamentals or anything like that, I don't know anything about this project. Nothing. So all I can say is the charts, looking at the charts. And what sucks is this big ass gigapump's throwing my fib retracement out, right? I really don't like let's just move the fib retracement and let's not even acknowledge this big ass pump for a second here. I'd rather do that. To not even acknowledge that pump. Kind of gives a little bit more of a, yeah, there you go. It looks a little bit better on the fib retracement. So for right now, you guys look like you're bouncing off the, it looks like you're finding support. This is the 618 right here. Nice little W pattern that's actually formed for the project. If you can see, a nice little W pattern. So I wouldn't be surprised if you guys probably come back up and retest somewhere around this $90 mark. Possibly, right? This could be being weighed down as well with the traditional market kind of, in the red for right now. But looks like she wants to pump up to this $90 mark right here. So it doesn't look bad. 618 holding that support. Sometimes it'll break a little bit below. I would say if you're not already in this project, which I'm pretty sure you are, if you're looking to dollar cost average in, my buy zone would probably be somewhere around the 786 right here. 786 is where it's dropped down and found that support. Nice little level to jump in. It looks like if you were to catch anything at the 786, you could see obviously it'll play out really well for you. So 786 is around that $47 mark. The 618 for right now to stay bullish is 73. So 73 needs to hold. I think $90 might be in store. Believe it or not, everything in the red, and I'm saying this project might be moving up to $90. So who knows? Who knows? But Flip, thank you so much for that $20. I do appreciate that, bro. Thank you so much again for the support, man. I really do appreciate that, dude. I got you all day, bro. I was looking at Bitcoin while we were talking. She is holding support. Look at this. You see how she'll drop briefly, but looks like she's trying to find that support at around the 64.9. So we're going to have to see how this plays out for tonight. We might have a bumpy road and not a little bit of a turbulence kind of a road in the next few days with Friday with the job reports coming out. It just seems like it's like the job reports is usually a big nothing burger. I think it's going to be a little bit more amplified because, these next two, the next like numbers that are coming out in regards to the job reports, the CPI report, stuff like that in the next few weeks is going to be a big indicator on if we're going to be reducing interest rates. And then on top of that, we just read that article about the feds, the U.S. government still dwindling that $2 billion worth of Bitcoin in two wallets, possibly waiting to pounce and sell off. So that's another thing that's weighing. And then on top of, we're getting off of a FOMC meeting today, which was pretty much bullish. I mean, for the most part, compared to the last few FOMC meetings, he was pretty bullish in my opinion. So I really do think it's the job reports, and I think it's really the government with the $2 billion in the two wallets that's looming over, and it's really making unease in the market, right? So. Flip said, I saw someone doing TA on Bitcoin, and after 6,200, what do you mean? Oh, it starts wave 3. So they're saying that we need to dip down to about 62,000, somewhere around there, and then we start bouncing off of that. I wouldn't disagree. That kind of would go with my theory of what I've been saying, how I just think that there's more pain ahead of us, right? We haven't really seen a major dip. I was looking at this earlier. You guys know I always go back, to previous bull runs like 2021. And though it's not going to be the exact same, they will look similar, right? When everything's said and done. And if you look at this right here, try to see through all the lines, this madness that I have going on. But you can see, so let's say this is where we're at right here initially. You can see that when we were running up, making these highs, we had dips of like 20%. 20%, up and down. And then finally, out of nowhere, and I remember this dip like it was yesterday, we finally dropped down and we saw a freaking 50% correction out of nowhere. Bitcoin went from literally, where were we at? Bitcoin went from about $60,000 all the way down to 29K, right? You want to talk about people shitting their britches? That was when people were literally going crazy. And I know I've told you guys this story plenty of times, so we won't go into it. But what I'm getting to is we haven't seen a dip like that yet. If you go in to where we're at right now, that was a 50% dip. If you really look at what we've gone through so far, even if we map out these dips right here, I think the most is going to be about a 20% dip. 24. So we've seen about a 24% dip, which is reasonable, right? I just think that we're going to most likely see a little bit more. I really do. So if that does play out, if you really think about, let's just say we see like a 40% dip from where we will even start from the top of this candle right here, since we've already been dipping. If you go down 40%, you got to keep going. Look at this. That puts us somewhere around $40,000 to $41,000. That could easily happen, guys. Easily happen. And you want to talk about everybody freaking terrified? You want to talk about all your friends that are so bullish in crypto, shitting themselves and selling off, just telling you that we're going back down to $3,000, we're going to 10 grand, and it's hard to look at them and say it's not, because at that time, even myself, if let's just say a dip like that happens, I'm going to be on here like, guys, it doesn't look good, right? I mean, you don't know where the bottom is, right? Whatsoever. We can map out spots where we'll find support and stuff like that, but we don't know exactly where the bottom, if we saw this scenario play out. But I'm trying to, give you guys, if you weren't around in 2021, this is what we dealt with, right? But there's light at the end of the tunnel, because we saw this and we sat down at this level for about 8 weeks. It was brutal. We went down to 29,000 and we stayed around there. We went down to like 28, 29. We would some days get back up to 30 and then we'd come right back down. We kept getting rejected at 30, right? 8 weeks, 9 weeks. And finally, out of nowhere, we started breaking up again. It was a fast process, but it felt like it took an eternity for us to get really out of those 30s. But, we started breaking out again. And all those people that got terrified, all those people that sold off, all those people that believed in that Bitcoin was going back to $3 grand, all missed the train. And we ran up to make all-time highs. And that was basically towards the second half and the last half. Or I'm sorry, the middle of 2021, getting into the later of the year. November obviously marking the top of the market for 2021. So I say this, guys, all the time, especially when we go through this, because I've lived through it. I've gone through it. It was rough. It really was. And I told you guys my story. At the time, I was picking up Ethereum like crazy, and it was like my first, real full bull run, and when we saw that dip, me personally was just like, oh my gosh, I was just like, holy crap. There was days where I literally didn't even want to pull up my portfolio. You guys understand that, right? We all have gone through that where you just don't even want to pull up your portfolio, because it's just like, you don't even want to see the pain anymore, right? But something snapped in me, and I was like, bro, I'm going to keep buying. I was like, I'm going to take advantage of this and just keep buying, and I did, and it played out. It played out really well. Like I said, we don't know if that's going to happen exactly like that. We don't know if we don't know what's in store for us. I tell you these scenarios just so you can be prepared for both things, right? We could easily this be the bottom, and this drop over here that we just mapped out that was 24% could have been the bottom, and this could be a fake out that where I'm sitting here talking all this and it's for nothing, and in a week from now we're at 80K, right? Or we could see what we've seen multiple times in the bull market where Bitcoin will chop around, and hit its head at certain levels, and then we'll see a big drop briefly, only to come back and make all-time highs again. So it's rough. It is rough, but if you plan, can plan, you're not going to do it perfect, right? But if you can plan for it all, you're setting yourself in those great positions. You're going to make out like a freaking bandit when Bitcoin and we get into altcoin season and things are running like crazy. So that's why I tell you guys, right? But you guys know that we'll be here through the thick and through the thin. That's why I started my channel during the bear market, right? It's been like, I think I'm approaching 2 years finally. I think I have like 600 videos, right? Most of them being lives, so, it was rough in the bear market, right? But we're going to make it through. And like what I'm getting to is if we do see those dips, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here right with you guys telling you what my plays are. So we're in it. But I still do think long term, we have not seen the top of this market yet whatsoever. So I think we're going to be all right, guys. Just make sure you guys are playing accordingly. Gina said, did I watch the whole Fed meeting? I did not. I didn't watch the whole. I kind of watched a recap on it as far as the Fed meetings, just to kind of get prepared for the stream tonight. Jane said, what do you think about call? We covered this a little while ago. I just said that call's gotten to a spot where, I've been kind of calling this, right? I've been kind of calling this for the last few weeks that we need to see something like this, and it was probably going to happen. So as of now, remember we kind of bounced at this level. We have broke below it. Next level for some support for call is going to probably be somewhere around this 23 mark. I don't think it's going to be overnight. If the markets continue to kind of way down and calls kind of still on that downward move, you're talking the next few days, we might see something where it breaks down to here. I think call short term, bearish, long term, call very, very bullish. I do believe it. Honestly, this is the biggest meme coin that's on Cronos' DeFi ecosystem, and I think it's going to do really well when we get into altcoin season and DeFi season. I do really well. So with that being said, like I already told you guys, we drop down to some of these levels, especially this 23 or below. I'm honestly going to just start buying in like crazy on call and getting my bag back. So Flip, you have a great night too, brother. Thank you so much for that super chat, brother. I do appreciate more than you ever know the support for the channel, and each and every one of you guys the same. So, and with that, Flip's leaving us, I guess we can end the show, right? You guys, thank you so much for everything. Be safe out there, guys. We're going to be perfectly fine. We're going to be fine, guys. Remember, Friday morning, we have the job reports coming out. Obviously, we have a stream tomorrow, but Friday morning, we will be streaming in the morning around 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to check out what the markets are doing live. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys hit that bell so you can get those notifications. Make sure on your way out, slap those likes. Make sure you guys hit those likes. Other than that, guys, I thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful night. Keep your heads up. We're going to be fine, guys. This happens in crypto all the time, every bull market. We're going to be fine. All right, guys. Have a wonderful night, and I will see each and every one of you guys tomorrow, all right?